Hello and welcome to Focus Friday, a vlog powered by Soul Performance Academy. Each week we bring you episodes that are helping to start the conversations in the coaching and educational spaces. I am your host, Dan Mickle. You can reach me directly at danmickle.com or across all social media at RealDanMickle. This week we are going to talk about count every minute, and I think much of what I talk about is usually from my mistakes and what I've done in the past that I have learned to do better and I think have contributed to continuing success. And I think this one is a big one that was staring me in the face for the longest time and I just never did it. And that was planning down every practice to the minute. Now, I want to caution you, I'm not saying that, let's say you have a 2-hour practice, that no matter what you're going to those 2 hours. I'm a firm believer of if you get done what needs to be done, then end it. If you get done in 90 minutes, end it. If you get done in an hour and 45 minutes, end it. One of the problems that we run into is we get something accomplished, we become very successful at a skill in practice, and then we tend to linger on. Well, this was great, so let's continue on it. And then that last hour of practice sees our production and the value of practice go down. So why not end once you've done something good? But that is a completely different rant. What I want to talk to this week is making sure that you plan out everything. And I understand that some of us are coaches or educators that kind of gotten thrown into those positions. And maybe we didn't expect to be there. But I think one of the things that we can really do is take the time and plan. As an athletic coach, we shouldn't be planning our practices in the car ride to the practice facility. We should have it planned out at least 24 hours ahead of time, at the very least 6 hours ahead of time. I realize that we might have to adjust things because players are missing, they're sick, or the weather's bad, or whatever happens. But I think a lot of time we make these big chunks to make it easier for ourselves. When we're looking at the paper or looking at what we're planning, it's much easier to say, I want to do these 4 things in 2 hours, versus breaking it down and saying, okay, this 10 minutes, this is what we're doing. The next 10 minutes, we're going to do this. A couple of reasons why we want to actually plan down to the minute is, first and foremost, if we're using the whiteboard and we're showing our players, they're going to know exactly what's expected to them. And we talked about this in a few episodes back, and I've talked about it on all of my podcasts, that you're going to get more from your players if they know what the expectation of them is. If they know how to score a drill or a scrimmage and they know how to win, they're going to push harder towards that end goal. If they know that a drill that they may not like is only going to go for 5 minutes, they'll probably work harder for those 5 minutes than if you don't tell them and just expect them to go and then arbitrarily will end the drill. So planning down the minute gives the motivation factor. It shows the players what's going to happen. Secondly, it's going to help to make sure that things flow and make sure that what you're doing at the beginning complements what you're doing at the end, and there's not these big gaps. Now, that's not to say maybe you're working offense at the beginning and defense at the end. It may seem like there's not a lot, but if you look at maybe your jump counts or the strain that you're putting at the beginning of practice on your players, it certainly will affect what's happening at the end. And if you're not really planning on that, you may burn your players out before you even get to the end, or quote unquote the important stuff that you're looking to do at the end of practice. They're already spent and burned out. So planning down to the minute is also going to help that. A big one that I didn't think about until recent years and we've seen in the news is planning down the minute gives you time to plan for breaks. A lot of times, coaches, we get caught up in the moment, and teachers, we get caught up in the moment, and sometimes we just overlap, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But sometimes we're putting our players at risk, and they need that water break, or they just need that break to kind of refocus mentally and get back into, the grind of things. And sometimes we just get on a good streak, or things are going so well, we're afraid to have those breaks. But we need them. And we've seen in the news what happens. Coaches, in outdoor sports, forget about breaks and end up having serious medical conditions with players. Heat exhaustion, overworking the players because they didn't put it in the break. Another reason I like planning down to the minute is, if anything comes back to you as a coach or an educator, you can say, no, this is what we did. If a player or a parent or administration is claiming overwork or something was done incorrectly, you can say, no, look, here's my practice plan. It's down to the minute. You can see what we did. Now, here's the key. Planning down to the minute doesn't mean that we can't deviate from that. It doesn't mean that we might stop things 4 minutes early. It doesn't mean that we might change things. But it gives you that template, and you can cross it out and write what you're doing. Or if you're like me and you're using a Rocketbook, you can re-upload the changes that you made to show. But it's really a cover your ass, a CYA program to make sure that if someone's complaining that you guys are doing too much leg work, or they're jumping too much, or they're running too much, you can show them, well, this is exactly what we've been doing. And it's really a way to CYA and make sure that you're compliant with your standards and your school standards and the health and safety of your athletes. The other thing that planning down the minute will do will give you a good framework how you can adjust things. Again, you can take time from the beginning and move it to the end and the beginning. It's really not about, we're only going to do this for 5 minutes, we're only going to do this for 6 minutes. It's more about keeping you on track and you on focus. Okay, maybe they end up doing a skill really well right away and you had 10 minutes slotted for it and they got it done in 5 minutes. Okay, I'm going to move everything up by 5 minutes and we're going to get done 5 minutes early. Again, this goes back to once we're done, we're good. We don't need them to play, because I am telling you, I have no scientific data for this, but I am telling you, I hear so many stories where players get hurt in the last 10, 15 minutes of practice, and a lot of times it's because there's an extra 10 or 15 minutes after you got through what you wanted to do, and they're just playing. And it's fun, and I get that, but a lot of times they're not focused, it's not supervised, and that's when injuries and problems happen. So keeping everything down to the minute will help. Also, it'll help you show, are there certain skills or certain things that we need to look at that I can't go 10 minutes on? In the volleyball, maybe, we're doing a blocking drill with just our middle blockers. Can they really do 10 minutes? No, it really burns them out, so we're going to do 5 minutes on that. And then again, I can adjust my schedule. But then moving forward, I can say, last time that we did this, we originally had 10 minutes and we only ended up doing 5. So when I set it up now, it's just going to be 5 minutes. So planning down again to the minute is going to help you. Again, I know it sounds like we're micromanaging and no, it's just to give you that framework. You can adjust as you need it. In the classroom, the same thing. Maybe there's just a time where you start to see your students checking out at a topic. Do you continue on to that because you have to, or you just end it? And then you add that time to something else, or you make sure, we got to circle back. We only got through 5 minutes of the 10 minutes that I wanted to get through on this book or this reading assignment. And then you can adjust during the week and move things around. But I really do think too many times as coaches, we come into practice and we have the good intentions of, okay, I want to work on these 3 skills, but then we never plan out how we're actually going to do it. What's the timing going to be? I know that I'm going to do skill 1 first and then skill B second, and how I'm going to arrange it, but what's the actual timing of that? And then because it's not laid out, you've got players standing around because you don't know how to set things up. It's not easy going from one drill to another drill because you didn't plan it out correctly. So again, we have those good intentions, but we need to take pride in the fact and do a lot of pre-planning. The more you pre-plan and lay out things, the smoother it's going to run. And we talked about a few episodes ago about naming things, and that's where that all comes into. We can cut back the time that we have players standing around and issues that we have if we name things and put it up on the whiteboard and let them read it. So again, this week's episode is just talking about how we need to plan down to the minute. And if we have to adjust it, we have to adjust it. But you should at least have a timeline of what you're going to do for practice and how you can move things around. So again, thank you for tuning in to this Focus Friday. As always, you can reach me directly across all social media platforms at Real Dan Mickle or my website, danmickle.com, and check us out on YouTube. And please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Let's get some more subscribers. And if you have any questions or topics you think you'd like me to cover, send them to me, dan@danmickle.com. Also, check out our sponsor, Soul Performance Academy. We do have some great new classes and courses coming up, including our new revision plan, which is kind of rethinking how we train our younger athletes, coming in February of 2023. So make sure you check out our website there, soulperformanceacademy.com. Peace, much love, don't suck, and we will see you next week for the next Focus Friday.